This is the Saturday Night League in Season podcast. I am your host, Slick, Assistant Commissioner of the League. I am by myself today because KxngTrizz could not make it. Apparently has something more important than to talk about fantasy football. I don't know, something about kids and a wife. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It was a good week this week. We had some good games. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. First game, we had Thelonious Punt versus Team Donnie. This was the game of the week we said last week, and it lived up to the hype. Thelonious Punt no longer undefeated. He scored 153.5 to Team Donnie's 163.5. He had Lamar Jackson 35 points, Josh Jacobs 25.5 points, Swift with 18.5, Amon-Ra 8.5, Kupp 16, Njoku 17, Brown 13, Kansas City defense with 9, and his kicker Fairbairn with 11. And on the other side, Team Donnie, Jalen Hurts 42.5 points, which is a great game. I mean, Lamar Jackson had a great game too with 35, but 45 is even better, obviously. Robinson, 23 points. Pollard, 14. London with 7. Jacoby Myers, 17 points. McBride, 21 points. Mixon, 23 points. Her defense, 13 points. And her kicker with 3. Like I said, we said we were going to have a good game on our hands last week, and very high scoring for both teams. Team Donnie was able to come through 10 points ahead. I understand that Thelonious Punt wants recognition to be the best team. I still think he is the best team. Maybe just, I don't know. We've said that Donnie can put up 170 just randomly. So here's our 163.5, and it came at the right time against Thelonious Punt. So Thelonious Punt no longer undefeated and falls to 7-1. So couldn't break the record of last year with Central C going 7 or trying to get to 8-0. They both fall flat at 7-1, which is still a great record. So nothing to scoff about. The next game is, speaking of Central C, Houston Boy versus Central C. Central C won this game, this matchup. Houston Boy had 124.5 points. Central C 168.5. So another high-scoring game for the winner, for the siblings, actually. So Team Donnie and Central C, they are siblings, and they both put up in the 160s, so just 5-point difference. But on Houston Boys' side, Josh Allen, 31.5 points, Achane with 26.5, which is great. Jones, 11 points, Diggs, 13, but now Diggs is out. Houston Boy no longer has Diggs, so that is going to be something to keep in mind going forward for him, something to look out for, and hopefully he can come up with a replacement for Diggs. Tyler Lockett, 1.5 points. Kincaid, 13 points. Dobbins, 16.5. His defense, a negative 0.5 points. And Bates with 12. Never a good thing to see defense give you negative points. But I don't think it would really matter, even if his defense gave him 10. Even if his defense gave him 20 points, it's not making a difference. He's still taking that L from Central C. Central C had Knicks with 43 points. I don't know. These siblings, they both have quarterbacks with 40 plus points, which is good. Good for them. Gibbs, 20 points. Williams, 8.5. And CeeDee Lamb, 39.5 points on 13 receptions, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Between him and Knicks, I think that's where Central C got the bulk of his points. Adams with 9. Bowers, 10.5 points. Bigsby, 10 points. Defense, 14. And his kicker matching with 14 as well. Yeah, again, CeeDee Lamb went crazy for him with 39.5 points. I think it's tough to lose when you have a quarterback in the 40s. And not only that does he have that, he has a wide receiver that put up pretty much 40. So Central C is in Central C form, which sucks for everyone else because, I don't like to see Central C do well. But it is what it is. He's 5-2-1. The next game is JD Grams versus Dem Boys. Now the new beef in our league is JD and Dem Boys, who I like to call Dem Children, or Dem Toddlers, because he talks big game He doesn't talk too much crap. He just talks big game about his team, but he has nothing to show for it, unfortunately. He lost to JD Grams, 127 to 118. JD Grams had Tua coming back from injury, gave him 28 points, 234 yards, and a touchdown. I did see him run, and he did slide, so good job, Tua, on that. Cook had 28 points, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's what really cooked. Pun intended. That's what really cooked them boys right there. It was closer during the day. Didn't know who was going to win, who was going to pull through. And then when James Cook took the field, that's when it was over. Nick Chubb had 5 points. He had big hopes for Chubb, but not great. Reed, 7.5 points. Thomas Jr. with 15 points. Kelsey, 25 points on National Tight End Day. Dobbs with 10. Defense, 2.5 as kicker with 6. And them boys had Caleb Williams, 14 points. Did not play well at all, and his team lost. That was a crazy Hail Mary at the end of the game. And Chicago deserved to lose because they could have had a touchdown with Swift. They chose to give it to a lineman in the fullback position, and he fumbled. So could have given it to Swift. That would have helped out. Looney's punt because I needed him to beat Team Donnie because Team Donnie is in my division, but it didn't happen. But yeah, them boys, them toddlers, them children, team's terrible. Caleb Williams, 14 points. Kenneth Walker III, 8 points. Najee Harris, 15.5, good. Wilson, 16, good. Cooper, 1, not good. Otten, 29 points. I mean, I think we knew that Titans were going to cook this week just because it was National Tight End Day. Still not enough. Yeah, Taylor, 18.5 that he got from the trade with me. And it looks like, although Taylor is performing well, it's not doing well for damn boys still. So that's what happens when you try to snake. The defense with 8 and his kicker 8 as well. He had another quarterback on his bench, Jaden Daniels, with 32.5 points. If he puts him in, dub. But he went with Caleb Williams. I don't know why. Caleb is... Let me just look at his stats here. Okay. Week prior, it was a bye, but the game before the bye, 2 games before the bye, he had 33 and 40 points. I guess. Sure. I understand it, I guess. But I'm glad that he lost. He's in my division. He has the worst record in the league right now at 1-7. That is bringing me joy. So shout out to JD. I needed you to pull through, and you did. Next game is Negrodamus and Pico de Guapo. Negrodamus, a.k.a. KxngTrizz, a.k.a. the commissioner of the league, a.k.a. Mr. Absentee, won 137.5 to Pico's 88.5. Not good. I would probably say that Negrodamus would be calling Dak Prescott Dakota Prescott with 25.5 points, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. So that's -4. He could have had 29 points or more. Dakota Prescott not performing that too well. Saquon Barkley, 11.5 points. Kamara, 18. Kamara doing Kamara things. Redemption after last week. You saw what we said about Kamara, only giving him 8 points. Well, you gave him 10 more this week. Justin Jefferson, 19.5 points. Neighbors, 14 points. Kittle, 24.5 points. Robinson, 8.5. Defense, 4. And his kicker, 12. He was a little bit greedy with Neighbors during the game. He was like, nah, they're not throwing the Neighbors. I need more. He got more, I guess, but relax, bro. You're 7-1, tied with the best record in the league. You don't need the points because you beat Pico, who only put up 88.5 points. Justin Love at 12 points. Another low showing at quarterback, just like them boys. But he got injured. Brees Hall with 9.5 points. James Conner, 14.5. Jamar Chase with 20. Keenan Allen, 5. Laporta with 16.5, and then just the rest is not that great, as you can see on the screen. I'm not going to go through all of them because it's an L. There's nothing really to break down, unfortunately. Pico, you had Brock Purdy with 34.5 points on the bench. You had Zach Ertz with 14.5. Not better than Laporta, though. Mostert with 15.5. Not really that much better. Oh, okay, Brees Hall with 9.5. Maybe could have put him in instead, but you don't really know. These are all, hindsight 2020. You don't really know what you have until it's all said and done. And the next game, breezing through this, might be a really short pod. The next game is the final game of the week. C Blizzy versus myself, Slick. And I ended up winning. Let's go. Slick back in the winner's circle. C Blizzy put up 118. just like his brother, who lost to JD Grams. I just want to point that out again. And to my 124.5, C Blizzy had 25.5 points from his quarterback, Stroud, 22 points with Williams. Henry gave him 14, so finally a normal day for Henry. Moore 5 points. Smith 20.5 points. Mark Andrews 14.5. Mason 1.5 got injured. Now we're going to talk about that in a bit. His defense with 9, his kicker with 6. And on my side, I had Geno Smith with 18 points. That's not good. It's not good. That's where I started to worry a lot. You want to be at least in the 20s regardless. That wasn't the case. So I started to get nervous. Kareem Hunt with 12.5 points. Warren 7.5. Hill 13. Mooney 18.5 points, 4 receptions, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Ingram with 13.5 points. Marvin Harrison Jr. finally, once again, had a good week with 23 points. That is what saved me right there. My defense with 10.5, my kicker with 8. Yeah, again, if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't put up 23, if he puts up 10, that's less points. That's 114.5. I'm losing. So Marvin Harrison finally doing something. I think the last game that he had that was good was week 4 with 15.5. So he was almost off the team, but I gave him one last chance, put him at the flex, and he pulled through for me. Now, what's interesting about this game is the whole day was close. At one point, both of us were projected over 130. But at the end of the night, this was Sunday, going into the Sunday night matchup, C Blizzy only had Mason left, and I had Warren left on Monday. Mason was playing, gave him the 1.5 points to bring him to 118, but ended up getting injured and not returning to the game. At that point, I was already at 118.5. So I said, hey, I'm up 0.5 points. I'm going to bench Mason. I'm going to bench Warren just in case he gets injured and fumbles, and it's -2. Now I'm down 116.5 to C Blizzy's 118. So I was like, let me just take the dub. I'm going to bench Warren, keep it pushing. I wake up Monday and see that the ESPN had stat corrections. They took away 1.5 points from me. So I was down 117 to 118. So I'm like, dang, now I really have to put in my running back. And if that scenario happens where if he gets injured and fumbles, that's -2 at end of the game. Now I'm at 115, 118. That's a L. But I can't take that chance that I'm behind, so I had to put Warren in. See, Blizzy and them boys were talking crap all day, and them boys said that they noticed, but weren't gonna say anything. Thankfully, I'm aware. You know what I mean? When it's time for the players to play, I'm always looking at my lineup. I'm always looking at my team, and that's how I noticed. And Warren gave me 7.5 points to get me to 124.5. So, and it still ended up winning. So, if you actually think about it, now this is very interesting. C Blizzy is the only team to have lost twice in 1 week. Standings. We got Thelonious Punt 7-1. And Negrodamus 7-1, tied for first place in their division. But Thelonious Punt takes the go-ahead because he beat Negrodamus earlier. Next is C Blizzy 3-5, Houston Boy 3-5, and JD Grams 2-6. And then the Renaissance is Team Donnie 6-2, Central C 5-2-1, Pico de Guapo 3-4-1, Slick 2-6, and them boys with the worst record in the league and the longest active losing streak at 1-7, and the losing streak is 5. It's still not over for anyone. No one has been officially eliminated from the playoffs. Them boys have a 10% chance. I have a 16. JD with 15% chance. So it's not over. Everyone's battling for the last spot in the playoffs. So let's look how the playoffs look. Thelonious Punt is still the number 1 team, although he did lose to Team Donnie. He has a better record than her. So he would get the bye, followed by Team Donnie getting the second bye. Third place in the playoffs is Negrodamus. 4th, Central C. 5th, Pico de Guapo. And 6th is C Blizzy. It's getting interesting. The next half of the season is playoff seeding. A lot can change. A lot of teams are taking L's that were winning, and some teams that were losing are now winning. So it's going to be fun to find out how everything unfolds. But moving on to Week 9 matchups. are as follows. Slick versus Central C for round 2. I really need that win. I've never beaten Central C since last year. He loves to talk about that, so I need to make sure that I beat him. Pico de Guapo going against JD Grams. Negrodamas versus Houston Boy. Team Donnie versus Dem Boys. And Thelonious Punt versus C. Blizzy. Now, if my co-host can get his priorities in order, I would ask him what's game of the week. So I would say for myself that game of the week, maybe I'll say Negrodamas and Houston Boy, just because JD Graham said he was going to put both of them in a retirement home and failed. So maybe the loser of this matchup goes to the retirement home for real. Negrodamas, Houston Boy, game of the week. This is the battle of wisdom. This is the Wisdom Bowl. I'm also going to look at, I guess, my own game. So like I said, I've never beaten Central C, and I am, as of right now, projected 10 points higher than him. But it would be great for me to continue on the path of winning, and on that path, give Central C an L. That would be amazing. But outside of that, I still need a lot of help. I need a lot of help. I would need JD to beat Pico, and I would actually need Dem Boys to win now against Team Donnie. It is what it is. Division matchups is what this week is. But anyway, yeah, that was, went through them quick. Those were the matchups for next week. This is a fast pod. I guess I'll keep it short. No guests. Make it easier for me to edit. And yeah, that's what we got for you today. That's what I got for you today. We'll see you guys next week on episode 9.